it will dawn upon you as a statement of total and luminous clarity. I do not think we need have any fear that this 10th time will never come, for in other circumstances it has come again and again. Think back to school days, when with the utmost care your teacher explained over and over the mysteries of percentage or sentence structure or daylight saving time, and you consistently failed to see the point. And then suddenly something clicked in your mind and the principle became clear. There is a Chinese poem which says, "Words do not make a man understand. It takes the man to understand the words."
Hey, thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well. There is a good deal of evidence that says humans existed at a time before there was a moon in the sky. Aristotle said the Pelasgians lived in Arcadia at a time before the moon. He called these people Proselenians, meaning those who lived before the moon. Anaxagoras and Democritus mentioned these same people as being before the moon, and so convinced were they of this fact that they had no problem relaying it as a part of their standard history lessons to their students of the time. Apollonius of Rhodes mentioned the time when not all the orbs were yet in the heavens, and only the Arcadians lived, of whom it is said that they dwelt on mountains and fed on acorns, before there was a moon. The ancient Illyrians were also Proselenians, whose records record a time before the moon. The 14th century Italian scientist Giordano Bruno echoes all of this. There are those who have believed that there was a certain time when the moon, which was believed to be younger than the sun, was not yet created. The Cordilleras believes there was a time with no moon, and they always to this day start their stories of ancient times with the phrase, "before the moon inhabited the night sky." In Bolivia, there are pictographs stating the moon did not arrive in the heavens until about 12,000 years ago. And strangely enough, there is a lack of ancient moon maps. Pretty weird given that the moon is a main celestial body and the brightest next to the sun. Philip Stuke of the University of Western Ontario couldn't understand this, and after a long search, the oldest reference to the moon he could find was what appeared to be a lunar map inside a tomb in North Ireland, dating back 5,000 years. He found a set of lines and dots that, when placed over a picture of the full moon, appeared to line up. So 5,000 years ago is the oldest reference to the moon. Again, where's the ancient lunar calendars? 3,000 years beforehand, the Sumerians were involved in astrology, but their moon god wasn't present until about 1,000 years after this Irish reference to the moon. Again, the moon is a very obvious body in the sky, so why would we have trouble finding ancient references to it? Well, because the moon wasn't always there. In the story Adam and Eve, Adam refers to the grid that's been placed on our plane. This grid is reinforced by Eve, who is taken from the rib of Adam, a part of the grid. This rib created Eve when the opening was closed. But when you close up an opening, does this make the shape of a human body? No, it creates a circle. Adam was said to be put in a deep sleep during this process, meaning the grid was placed deeply on this plane, interwoven in everything. Eve was created from this grid and was the helper of Adam, the reinforcer of this grid. So the moon was placed here and keeps us in a type of energetic lockdown in more than one way. The square waves that come from the moon, a part of the Saturn moon matrix, aim to keep us in a state of rigidness and to hide our divine potential. Interdimensionally, the moon creates a false light when we die, which when we go through, we are recycled back to this physical plane, so we can remain energetic food for the archons and the reptilians. Through this light, we encounter false light beings who pose as our overlords. And since many of us don't understand our spiritual sovereignty, we go along with their games and agree to their prescription that we must be sent back to Earth to work out karma. Our memories are wiped clean. This doesn't happen to the reptilians who rule this plane though. Queen Elizabeth, for instance, is said to have been incarnating here for 7,000 years and retains all of her memories.
Sometimes it seems that reconciliation stands little chance in the face of war and discord. But as the Christmas truce a century ago reminds us, peace and goodwill have lasting power in the hearts of men and women.
The moon displays a lot of strange characteristics that tell us this is not only a holographic projection, but one where strange activity is going on interdimensionally. The lunar wave has been shown by many YouTube channels. The lunar wave is a wave that crosses the entire moon consistently, like a constant loading sequence in a hologram. On many occasions, orbs of light have been seen surrounding and exiting the moon. These are either souls that are being recycled back into another body on Earth, or the false light beings traveling to and from. There's really no way to know, but the activity is strange. The moon has always had a strong relationship with menstruation. In 1980, a study was published on this phenomenon. The study mentioned that the lunar cycle and a fertile menstrual cycle are the same, 29.5 days. A real phenomenon exists. In 1986, a study found that there was a synchronous relationship between the menstrual cycle and the lunar rhythm. During menstruation, blood is expelled from the vagina, and there's been a deliberate attempt to make this seem gross and unpleasant, when in reality, period blood is sacred. Throughout the ages, drinking menstrual blood was considered to be the elixir of immortality. One of the most important rituals among some sects of Gnosticism was that of drinking a woman's menstrual blood. Taoists claimed that a man would achieve ripe old age by absorbing menstrual blood, called red yin juice. Chinese sages called this red juice the essence of Mother Earth, the yin principle that gives life to all things. Menstrual blood is full of healing stem cells, which can activate our cellular capacity to regenerate our bodies. This is scientifically accurate. Menstrual blood is known to be an abundant source of stem cells. During menstruation, part of the uterine lining, which provides nutrients to a potential embryo, is released, and this is what menstrual blood is made of. This uterine lining is full of stem cells which invigorate life, and these stem cells play a vital role in creating us when we're in the womb. Drinking menstrual blood helps both men and women. Some women to this day drink their own menstrual blood and find it has many healing and spiritually cleansing properties. So this promise of old age, health, and immortality coming from the blood of the divine feminine is not only a reference to the drinking of blood, but to a flat earth secret hidden within the female anatomy. Our Earth is the mother goddess. We could call her Isis, Gaia, the Great Mother, it doesn't matter. The Earth is feminine. In Indian mythology, the Great Mother Kali manifested herself as the spirit of creation, and she invited the gods to bathe in the bloody flow of her womb and to drink from it. The gods in holy communion drank it and rose to heaven. The Norse god Thor reached the magic land of enlightenment and eternal life by bathing in a river filled with the menstrual blood of a giantess. And the Norse god Odin acquired supremacy by stealing and drinking the blood from a cauldron in the womb of Mother Earth. Egyptian pharaohs achieved divinity by ingesting the blood of Isis. Isis, again, is our Mother Earth. The blood of Isis is another name for the girdle of Isis. Its loop signifies the gate of heaven. When we look at the girdle of Isis, we see the way out of this flat earth matrix. Many symbols must be flipped over to reveal their true meaning. Flipped over, we see an opening at the top, and the two other lines are zeroing in on the gate of heaven. The knots above the opening are the knots that tie down mortal life on earth, and according to Egyptian writings, must be unraveled to enjoy immortality. Free your bonds, says the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Untie the knots of Nephthys. On this diagram of our flat plane, when we put this flipped over symbol in the center, we see this even more clearly. The opening is a passageway, a type of birth canal into another realm, where we pass through the gate of heaven and into the land of perpetual twilight. Greek mystics were said to be born again out of the river Styx. In Greek mythology, Styx is a river that flowed through the underworld. It was seen as the bloodstream from the Earth's vagina. The Earth's vagina, if we are to call it that, is the opening at the center of our plane, where all compasses point to come pass. It's the vaginal vortex, the opening that the sacred blood flows through, and the opening where we must drink this metaphorical blood to achieve everlasting life. And I'm telling you, this is one reason why menstrual blood contains so many healing properties, because it's a flat earth secret that's been hidden within the female anatomy. Crazy, right? And when you take all of the stories about menstrual blood and combine it with the flat earth exit hole, you get one message. Go to Mother Earth's opening and there you shall find the elixir of immortality. Just like how the Greeks were said to be born again out of the Styx River, the story of the Holy Grail tells us we gain everlasting life when we drink from the Grail. It's the same message. When we drink from these living waters, these body prisons are shed and we're placed back in our original bodies, which are currently on the other side of our plane. These bodies, as I've mentioned, are holographic. We are made of prison cells, and our soul, which resides in our heart, is trapped inside of a rib cage. It's all in our language. Let's get back to the moon. The moon showed up sometime around the deluge occurred. The deluge is known as a great flood, combined with many other catastrophes that suddenly occurred and changed the face of humanity. This event was caused by Saturn. This deluge is recorded by most ancient people. The Bible talks of the flood of Noah. The Hindu flood is discussed in the Matsya Purana. The Chinese have the Great Flood of Gunyu. The Hawaiians, the Aztecs, the Aboriginals, the Incas, I could go on, but you get it. Leading up to this flood, there was a celestial battle between the energy bodies of Saturn and Jupiter. During a close approach to Jupiter, Saturn somehow became unstable and, as a result, morphed. At the end of the event, Saturn had become a fraction of the size that it used to be. It also had rings that weren't previously there. This sparked the deluge. Before this catastrophic event was the Golden Age of Cronus, also known as the Golden Age of Saturn. It was a time of bliss, harmony, and abundance. The tractate Brachod of the Babylonian Talmud points to the celestial body Kima, their equivalent of Saturn, as the source of the deluge. In the Mexican codices, it says the Great Flood was caused by Saacatl, their equivalent of Saturn. And the Osirian mysteries of Babylon refer to the transformation of Saturn during and following the deluge. Metaphysically, we can only give our best guess as to what this catastrophe means. Once again, here's my take. Saturn is the holographic projector of our current reality. This is why the elite worship Saturn, or Satan as the name morphed into. This projection, this hologram of physical existence, is very enjoyable for the Archons and the Reptilians. It provides them energetic food, control, and power, and they've mastered how to achieve it on this physical plane. This is why they worship the projector that they hacked. We lived in a wonderful holographic playground beforehand, during the golden age of Saturn, and were probably able to transcend dimensions at will, communicate telepathically, and revel in all of the divine knowledge and wisdom of our higher selves. The quote, breaking of Saturn and subsequent deluge signifies the time when the holographic projector was somehow tampered with. The archonic reptilian virus started to plague this hologram, and what used to be a great matrix was now a confining one. Over time, ancient knowledge was lost and we forgot who we were. Many ancient sources recall Saturn as shining down on Earth, casting a brilliant light comparable to the sun. This energy body that we're projections of, like I said, became smaller and had rings. So perhaps this means the projection now was of limited capacity, focusing on a specific band of frequencies that allowed the Archons and Reptilians to operate their plans of control best. After the deluge, all the natural perils we know now to be common began. Tornadoes, earthquakes, storms, sickness. These things, according to the ancients, did not exist before the Great Flood. The human lifespan was drastically reduced, and much of the Golden Age's lush vegetation was destroyed. Paradise became hell. And to make things worse, the moon was put up in the sky and became intertwined with Saturn in the Saturn-Moon matrix. Like I said earlier, in Bolivian pictographs, the moon is dated as being in the sky 12,000 years ago, around the same time the Great Flood is said to have occurred. There was the Golden Age. Now we're in the Iron Age. In this age, might makes right. Immoral behavior is encouraged. Money rules all without restraint, and basically everything is the inverse of what it should be. So now that we're in the Iron Age, many of us are being called home, to the center of the plane. More and more of us are using our divine creative power for the benefit of all. Trust me, over time this will all physically come together. This doesn't mean the battle will be over. There's no way to know 100% how far interdimensionally this battle of consciousness has been going on. Good versus evil, high frequency versus low frequency. Because this matrix is in pain, it may be causing trouble for all other frequencies. When we're back in our original bodies, we may feel called to keep spreading love throughout all planes of existence we go from there. in hopes of one day establishing a universal age of love and unity among all planes of existence? Or we'll simply be in paradise, away from this holographic hell that we've been uploaded into? Check out my channel for more. Quasi-Luminous also has a great channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. I love you all.